Hello students, we have already learned about kingdom Plantae in the previous video. We had covered the three divisions of kingdom Plantae, that was Thallophyta, Bryophyta and Pteridophyta. Today we are going to learn the next two divisions, that is the Gymnosperms and the Angiosperms. As you remember that the first three divisions were the simplest plants and they did not have any reproductive organs which was visible. So now we are going to learn gymnosperms and angiosperms, which have the seeds or flowers and which is visible, and they come under phanerogames. Okay. So if you recall that kingdom Plantae had the first division as Thallophyta, which is the simplest plants of the plant kingdom, Bryophyta, which was called the amphibians of the plant kingdom because they are found in moist areas, Pteridophytes, the first land plants. All these three divisions are coming under cryptogames because they are having hidden reproductive organs. Today we are going to learn about gymnosperms, which is the first seeded plants, but the seeds are naked. Then you have the angiosperms, in which the seeds are enclosed in fruits, right? So these are the cryptogames and phanerogames. Again, cryptogames include thallophytes, bryophytes, and pteridophytes, and phanerogames include gymnosperms and angiosperms, right? So let us learn about the division gymnosperms. Have you observed these plants, children? Have you ever seen, when you went to some hill station, you might have seen such plants with needle-shaped leaves, isn't it? So these are actually the gymnosperms, and you know they are perennial plants. What do you mean by perennial plants? The plants which have a long life. When you learned about the thallophytes, bryophytes, and pteridophytes, they had a very short lifespan. Okay, they completed their life cycle in 1 or 2 seasons. But division gymnosperms and the last division angiosperms, they have plants which are perennial in nature. Perennial means living for a long years, many years. Okay, they are evergreen and have a woody stem. Fine. They have naked seeds. The name gymnosperms means naked seeds. The seeds are not enclosed in fruits. Fine. And the reproductive organs are called cones. That is the characteristic of gymnosperms. So if you want to learn about it, we have to learn some examples. So let us learn about the pinus and the cycas. Okay. If you see a pine tree, you might have seen these cones in them. Actually, the cones are it may be a female cone or a male cone. And you know that both these cones are born on the same plant. The same plant will have a male cone as well as a female cone on a separate branch. The branch which bears the male cone, it's called microsporophyll. And the branch which is bearing the female cone is called the megasporophyll. Remember, micro for males, mega for females. Okay, both of them are seen on the same plant. Okay, so if you just observe the pinus cones in detail, you have this for your practicals. You have to observe the pinus male and female cone and write its characteristics. Okay, so the pinus female cone, you can see as it matures, it will open. Each part of that is called a bract, and each bract, it will be a bract, and in each bract you will have an ovule in the base. Okay, we can see this is scales. They are like scales. They are. Can you see? Okay, so male cones are born on male branches and they are called as microsporophylls. So here you can see the male cones, dust-like thing, pollination is happening. So the pollen grains from the male cone will reach the female cone and fertilization happens. In the male cone also you have the bract structures and you can see they are called the microsporophyll. In them you have the microsporangia in which you have the pollen grains. Okay. Now coming to the cycas. In cycas, the male cone, you can see how it is. You can see that yellow structures, dust-like structures here. It's the pollen grains. And in case of the female cone, they look like this. You can see the ovules here, the ovule of the female cone. Fine. So the male cone, the pollen grains come and fertilize the female cone and the seed is formed. Once the seed is formed, it's not enclosed in fruits. That is the characteristic of gymnosperms. Okay. Now coming to the last division of kingdom Plantae, that is the division angiosperms. They are the most advanced plants and they are subdivided into dicots and monocots. The three pictures you see here are coming under the dicotyledons, and the next two, these two pictures, that is a grass and the coconut tree, they are coming under the monocots. What do you mean by dicots and monocots? We'll come to that later on. Okay. Now, what do you mean by angiosperms? They are flowering plants. Their reproductive organs are called flowers. Okay. And the seeds are enclosed in fruits. And inside the seed, there is the embryo, which is nourished by the cotyledons. You have already learnt in lower classes the parts of the seed. It has a seed coat. Inside the seed coat, if you remove the seed coat, you see the two cotyledons. And at the base of the cotyledon, you can see the embryo. So the embryo is getting nourished by the cotyledons. If two cotyledons are there, it's called as a dicot. If there is only one cotyledon, it's called as a monocot. Rice, if you remove the seed coat, you have only one cotyledon, isn't it? But if you take a mango, take out its fruit, eat the fruit, break the seed coat, and then you can see the two cotyledons. Okay, gram, green gram, when you put it in water, the seed coat comes out, you can see the two cotyledons there. So that is the meaning of dicot and monocot. Clear? So, but the life cycle is same for all of them. If you take a quick look into the life cycle of a angiosperm plant, a simple, normal flower of an angiosperm, it is having both stamens and pistils. Here I am showing you. Sometimes the angiosperms, in angiosperms, the male flowers will be in a different tree and the female will be in a different. If both the reproductive organs are present in the same flower, it's called as a bisexual flower. Here, it is a bisexual flower. The same flower, it has a stigma, style and ovary, that is a pistil, the female part, and you have the stamen, which is a male part. Can you see here? This is a pistil with stigma, style and ovary. Inside the ovary, you can see you have the ovule. Inside the ovule, it is the egg is present. Okay. Then the stamen is made up of anther and filament. And in the anther, there is pollen grains. The pollen grains fall on the stigma. Pollen tube is growing towards the ovary. And then the male gametes fertilize the female gamete, which result in the formation of zygote, the process called fertilization. Zygote, it develops into embryo, and I said the embryo is nourished by the cotyledons. You can see here, the embryo is nourished by the cotyledons. This is the embryo, and it is nourished by the cotyledon. And then the ovary is actually developing into the fruit. So in angiosperm, the ovary develops into fruit and the ovule develops into seed. And once the seed is it is coming out of the fruit, the seed waits for a favorable condition to germinate, and radicle and plumule comes out, and then it gives rise to the new plant. So much detail is not there for your syllabus to learn. You just have to learn about the characteristics of angiosperms. The detail of fertilization, etc., you will learn in 10th standard. Fine. So now coming to the difference between monocots and dicots. I told you monocot means one cotyledon and dicot means two cotyledons. But there is no need to always open the seed and see whether you want to know if the plant is dicot or monocot. There are some other characteristics also. Okay, if you see the roots, if you pluck a grass and see the roots, it is having fibrous root system. Grass is a monocot. If you pluck a tulsi plant, its roots, it has a primary root and secondary roots are coming out of it. Okay, so this is called as a dicot. So if they have a fibrous root, it's monocot, and if it is a tap root, it is called as a dicot. Clear? Similarly, monocot plants, they have a parallel veins in leaves. If you observe the leaves of the coconut, the veination is parallel. Whereas if you take a leaf of a hibiscus, which is a dicot plant, it has a reticulate, that is a central vein, and in which there are a lot of network of veins. It's called reticulate veination. So parallel veination in monocot and reticulate veination in dicot. Similarly, if you see the flower structure, that is in case of dicot, the flowers are having the petals in the multiples of 3. It will be 3, 6, etc. In dicot, it is in the multiples of 5. So this is a difference between dicot and monocot. This is also there for your practicals. Fine. Now, just a quick revision. Depending upon visibility of reproductive organs, if it is visible or not, is divided into cryptogams and phanerogams. Okay. So cryptogams means hidden reproductive organs. And which are the divisions coming under them? Thallophytes, bryophytes, and pteridophytes. Phanerogams include gymnosperms and angiosperms. You remember the examples. Okay. Now, as we had learned that in kingdom, the complete organisms were divided into 5 kingdoms based on different characteristics, if you remember. The first level based on the presence or absence of nucleus, second level based on number of cells, and so on. So kingdom Plantae, we are having 5 divisions. How have we divided it? On what criteria? So first level of classification of the plant kingdom is based on whether they have a differentiated body or not. Those which did not have a differentiated body, we saw it is thallophytes. The body was just a thallus. Okay. And those which have a differentiated body is further divided based on whether the vascular tissues are present or not. Those which do not have vascular tissues come under division Bryophyta, and which have vascular tissues are again subdivided into based on whether seeds are present or not. Those did not have seeds, they are coming under Pteridophyta. Okay, now you see all these three, Thallophyta, Bryophyta, and Pteridophyta we had learned in the previous video. Now, those which have seeds are subdivided based on whether the seeds are naked or enclosed. Those which are naked coming under Gymnosperms, which are enclosed by fruits are coming under Angiosperms, right? Now, Angiosperms itself is subdivided into monocots and dicots. We just saw the difference just now. So, the first 3 divisions which do not have which have hidden reproductive organs are called as cryptogams, and the last 2, or the gymnosperms and angiosperms, are called as phanerogams. Fine. So this was about the complete thing about the kingdom Plantae. Let us have a quick review, children. So what you need to do now is take your notebook and sit. These are the questions. Pause the video, answer all the questions, and then check your answers here. I have given you the answers. Check your answers. After checking the answers, again go forward, pause the video, answer these questions, then check the answers here I have given you. So these question answers or the review questions, it includes the portion of the previous video also, that is complete kingdom Plantae is included. This will give you a confidence before going for exam. Fine. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed learning kingdom Plantae. All the best for your exams. Okay.